I'll tell you this quick little anecdote because I always remember it, and it's such a small moment in my life, but it still resonates with me to this day. And it was about 30 years ago. I was about 21, and I was still living at home with mom and dad. And I had a bad respiratory infection, and I ended up in the emergency room. And by that point, I had just been diagnosed with CVID. And I had also been diagnosed with bronchiectasis, which is some scar tissue on the lungs as a result of a lot of coughing and infections for the first 20 years of life. So I was speaking to an emergency room doctor, and he was going over all of my statistics. And I said to him, oh, by the way, I have bronchiectasis. And he said, you have what? And I said, bronchiectasis. He said, no. It's pronounced bronchiectasis. And I think I probably gave him a face that sort of said, whatever, that's not important. And I think he could tell what I was thinking. And he said, it is important. It's your disease. It lives within you. You should at least know how to say it. And I thought, how rude. But I thought, he's right on one level. You have to take ownership of this. I spent years trying to run away from it and just pretend that it was something off to the side on a shelf somewhere. And I didn't really talk about it much. And I would go to the hospital once a month for my infusions and then run out of there and rejoin my normal life. For the first 20 years of my life, there was an inordinate amount of sickness and infection. My poor mom knew that there was something strange going on, So you have to kind of put yourself back in the 1970s. And our family doctor and a few specialists said, well, he's going to grow out of this. He's got an immune system that's still growing, and by the time he's a teenager, things should work out. Our understanding of immunology was so much less than it is now, So we gave it time, but it got worse. And so by the time I was in my late teens, I was kind of worn out. And we'd gone from specialist to specialist, but finally at the age of 20, we found a hematologist out in Scarborough who said, I think I know what this is. And so he came back with the news that it was Common Variable Immunodeficiency. It was a big relief. And we said, well, what do we do now? And he said, well, you have to get gamma globulin every month in hospital for a few hours. It's blood product. Oh, we said, well, for how long? He said, for the rest of your life. But I have to tell you, I was not upset. I was not scared. I was just absolutely relieved that we knew what it was and that there was something that might be able to mitigate things. He said, it's not a cure. But he said, I think it can help you get into your adult years a little bit better. So the diagnosis for me was something that was a source of peace. They call it variable because it is different for everybody that has CVID. And I'm on a little bit more the severe end of things, but it ebbs and flows. When I started my monthly treatments, my 20s and my 30s, compared to the first 2 decades of life, they were quite good. And I went to university and I got a job and I became an elementary school teacher, fell in love and got married. And things were pretty smooth. There were some rocky moments, but God, compared to my teen years and compared to my childhood, things were good. The 40s have been challenging at times, and I've had to actually back away from my career. There are moments of sadness, but there's also great moments of clarity. And I have a certain view of life and a certain philosophy that I don't know that I'd have if I didn't have an immune deficiency. I'm fond of saying that there's a lot of people that separate themselves from their chronic illnesses. And the big phrase that's used quite often is, I don't let it define me. But for me, it does define who I am. I don't know how I would think, and I don't know how I would behave, and I don't know what choices I would make in my life if I didn't have a primary immune deficiency. So it has been a part of my life for my entire life. Over the course of 51 years, you learn what philosophies and what strategies work for you and which ones don't. And you try a little bit of everything along the way. Be aware that every aspect of your life that you lead can either contribute or take away from your health much more than the average person, because you've got a body that is constantly walking uphill. What I've learned as I've gotten older is to have more patience with myself. I've learned this in conjunction with Leslie, my wife. She always reminds me to just pace yourself. Take it easy. It's okay if you're having a down day. It's okay to lie down. So just giving yourself permission is valuable. And it's tough because, you've spent a lot of your life on the couch and away from the action. So you want to get out there and you want to do what you can, but you're not always capable. So, right now I'm at a spot where it's all just the basic pillars of life. It's just eating well, sleeping well, trying to get some exercise, trying to maintain your social connections, and trying to see the bigger picture. And gratitude. It's tempting to retreat sometimes into the privacy of your own thoughts and to want to be alone if you're having a down day. But it's so much healthier to be with the people who love you and get outdoors. I'm a music lover, so I listen to a lot of music. That makes me feel alive. That reminds me of the beauty in life. But it's mainly the people I share my life with. It's my wife and my bulldog Tootsie. And they do so much more for me than they'll ever know. So they make me feel alive,